I think the raid on President Trump's Mar-a-Lago was outrageous. Prosecutorial misconduct, as the former president called it. Nothing like this has ever happened in history. It's a third world country type of action, political persecution. I think the radical Democratic Party is hell-bent on doing anything they can to prevent Donald Trump from running again for president and from winning. I think this is the singular motive for the Kangaroo Court January 6th committee hearings, and I think the politicized Justice Department under Merrick Garland is on the same page. President Trump wasn't even home. The FBI agents indiscriminately rifled through his papers. They even cracked open his safe. This is not the sort of thing we expect in America. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I wonder about a Fourth Amendment violation. That would be unreasonable searches and seizure by the government. Seems to me a subpoena would have been appropriate, not an early dawn invasion. The White House is denying any knowledge of this action, but I do not believe them. No, I don't have any direct evidence. But from my experience as a former senior White House staffer, a major impact action like this from the Justice Department more than likely would have been cleared at a minimum or would have been made known to the Chief of Staff and the President's counsel. At a minimum. You get my gist. Like most Americans, I believe that the vast majority of FBI agents are hardworking, honest patriots. But the events of recent years suggest that, unfortunately, the same cannot be said for the upper bureaucratic echelon of the FBI, where left-wing politics have played a larger and larger role. Of course, political appointees dominate the top of the Justice Department, and that's why I believe that our law enforcement is being weaponized against conservative leaders. Now, here's a tweet from Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin on this very subject, and I will quote, "A stunning move by the DOJ and FBI. This same DOJ labeled parents in Loudoun County as terrorists and failed to enforce federal law to protect justices in their homes. Selective, politically motivated actions have no place in our democracy." Now, there is a deep state bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. that is subverting our cherished institutions in favor of their radical leftist views. We are losing the rule of law, and Americans are losing confidence in almost everything that has to do with the D.C. swamp. Whatever one may think of Donald Trump, I will bet the majority of Americans believe the Justice Department and the FBI have stepped way over the line in this outrageous action against Trump. And you know what? I think it's going to backfire. Also, this politicized lawlessness is yet another example of the regulatory overreach of big government socialism. Look at the winners in this pathetic Schumer-Manchin reconciliation bill. Not ordinary working folks. There's no inflation reduction. There's no anti-recession growth. There's no deficit reduction. There's not even any curbs on global warming. The winners are the regulatory octopus agencies like the EPA destroying fossil fuels, or the IRS destroying small businesses, or the healthcare bureaucrats with price controls on life-saving drugs. It is pathetic. Congress is giving more and more power to central planners who are jamming their ideological agenda down the throats of the rest of the U.S. There's no economic opportunity in that awful bill. It's part of the campaign to end free market capitalism and the 250-year American tradition of a free economic system. Donald Trump is not about to roll over and accept any of this. Recently, he's given two excellent policy speeches at the America First Policy Institute conference in Washington and the CPAC conference in Dallas, Texas. Trump is laying down a predicate for the Republican Party's agenda to win the midterm elections in November and capture the White House in 2024. He's talking about shutting down the border, stopping crime, restoring public safety, ending inflation, preventing cashless bail, death penalty for drug dealers, stop and frisk for criminals, restoring our military strength, tough on China, Russia, and Iran, abolishing the critical race theories of the Education Department. Now, all of these successful Trump economic policies to cut taxes, deregulate, promote energy independence, all that gave us the best prosperity in many generations have been reversed by the Bidens. Mr. Trump intends to restore those policies that provided record increases in average family incomes, record low unemployment for minority groups, reduced poverty, declining inequality across the board for everyone. He recognizes that we are a nation now in temporary decline. But in his recent video, he pledges to fight for hard-working patriots who will save America. And I will quote, "There is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no challenge we cannot meet." And he concludes by saying, quote, "The tyrants we are fighting do not stand even a little chance because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God and God alone. And it is time to start talking about greatness for our country again." In other words, to paraphrase my former boss, the cavalry is coming.